Now, he then said that while he was about it, he would see to the chain for me, and at once began taking off the gear case. Now that he had done something or the other with the wheel, now he said that since he is handling the bicycle, he is already doing something with the bicycle, he would also check the chain. And before the young boy could react, he started taking off the gear case. I did try to dissuade him from that. The young boy tried to dissuade him. Dissuade is the opposite of persuade. Dissuade means to stop, to discourage. So he tried to discourage him from that. From that as in from taking off the gear case. I told him what an experienced friend of mine once said to me solemnly, if anything goes wrong with your gear case, sell the machine and buy a new one. It comes cheaper. So the boy was trying to, dissuade him from doing anything with the bicycle, and then he said that he actually told a story that one experienced friend of his, he told him solemnly means seriously and in a sincere way. So he said that if anything goes wrong with your gear case, you must sell the machine, you must sell the bicycle and actually get a new one, because the newer one will actually cost you cheaper than the replacement of the gear case. Alright. He said, people talk like that who understand nothing about machines. Nothing is easier than taking off a gear case. And then the boy who was working on the bicycle, he said, people who don't know much about the bicycle or the machine, they actually talk like that. Nothing is easier than taking off a gear case. It is such an easy task. I had to confess he was right. Confess means admit. So the boy says, yes, actually, I should admit that he was right. In less than 5 minutes, he had the gear case in 2 pieces lying on the path and was groveling for screws. What did he do? The man, he could not take out the gear case easily. In fact, he had actually broken it. He says in just 5 minutes, the gear case was in 2 pieces, lying on the path and was groveling for screws. And this man, he was groveling for screws. He said it was always a mystery to him the way screws disappeared. And he says that it is always a mystery, as in he doesn't understand why the screws, they disappear exactly at the time when they are wanted. Common sense continued to whisper to me, stop him before he does any more mischief. And then this young boy says that something in my head, which is called as common sense, it kept on whispering to me, it kept on, saying to me inside me that you must stop this man before he damages your cycle anymore, before he does something else to the cycle. You have a right to protect your own property from the ravages of a lunatic. It is your property. It was young boy's property. So he is, something inside his head is going on, which is telling him that you must stop him. It is your property. It is your duty. You have all the right to protect your property from the ravages of a lunatic. Ravages means damages. From the damages which a lunatic means madman or a mad person is doing to your property. You have all the right to save your property, whatever it is. Take him by the scruff of the neck and kick him out of the gate. And the young boy, he actually, what does he want to do? He wants to take him up from the scruff of the neck. Scruff of the neck is back of the neck. So he actually wants to pick him up from the back of his neck and throw him out of the gate. And he actually cannot do it, but he feels like doing this thing. But I am weak when it comes to hurting other people's feelings, and I let him muddle on. Muddle on means mix up things. He was doing something or the other, mixing up things, breaking them. He was, kind of fiddling with his bicycle. But this young fellow, he was so weak in hurting his feelings, the man's feelings, that he could not say anything to him and allowed him silently to muddle up. Muddle up means mix up things. He gave up looking for the rest of the screws. This man was tired, so he just left it. He left looking up for the rest of the screws. He said screws had a knack of turning up when you least expected them, and that now he would see to the chain. And then this young man says he was tired of looking for the screws, the lost screws. So he said screws have the ability, knack as an ability. They have the ability of turning up. They will, turn up. They will show up when you least expect them. And that now he would see to the chain. And then he says, now that I have given up looking at the screws, they will automatically show up when you need them, or when you are not expecting them. So let me leave looking up for the screws and let me see the chain now. He tightened it till it would not move. Next, he loosened it until it was twice as loose as it was before. What did the man do? The man, he tightened the chain so much that it was not moving at all. And then he loosened it so much that it became twice as loose as it was before. Then he said, we had better think about getting the front wheel back into its place again. And after whatever fiddling with the chain, he said, now I think it is better that we put the front wheel in its place back again. I held the fork open and he worried with the wheel. As in, the young man, the young fellow, he put the fork open as in so that the wheel could be kept in place. So he opened the fork and he worried with the wheel. This man, he worried with the wheel, as in he tried to put the wheel back into its place. At the end of 10 minutes, I suggested he should hold the fork and that I should handle the wheel, and we changed places. This man could not actually put the wheel back in place. So the young fellow, he said, it's better that we change the places. You hold the fork and I will put the wheel in. See, the young boy, he is opening the fork, and the man, he is trying to put the wheel in. But almost for 10 minutes they could not do it, and finally the young boy said that let us switch on the positions. At length we did get the thing into position, and the moment it was in position, he burst out laughing. And at length we did the thing into position. This means it took a very long time to put the wheel back into its position, and the moment it was there, the wheel was fixed, this man, he burst out laughing. He started laughing very loudly. Now why do you think he would be laughing? Let's read. I said, what's the joke? So the young fellow, he was curious. He did not understand why the man was laughing. So he said, what is the joke? He said, well, I'm an ass. And then he says, I'm an ass. Ass as in I'm an idiot. I'm a dumb fellow. It was the first thing he had said that made me respect him. I asked him what had led him to the discovery. This is a satire. Satire as in punch, a funny line, a humorous line, you can say, a mocking tone, you can say. So this young man, he said for the first time, that fellow, the man, he has said something really correct about himself, something which made the young boy respect him. And then he asked, what made you think that ways, as in how did you made this kind of a discovery? He said, we have forgotten the balls. And then this man says, we have forgotten to put the balls in those, in the bearings of the wheel. I looked for my hat. It was lying topsy-turvy in the middle of the path. Topsy-turvy means upside down. This man, young fellow, he looked for his hat and found out that the hat was upside down, turned upside down, and probably the ball bearings, the small balls, they were all around on the floor again. He was of a cheerful disposition. He said, "Well, we must put back all we can find and trust to Providence." He was of a cheerful disposition. Disposition means inherent quality or nature or temperament. So this fellow, he was it was his nature to be cheerful. He said, "Well, we must put all we can find," because he understood that there are so many balls on the ground that they will not be able to find everything, all the balls. So he said, "Let us find whatever we can and put the wheel back and trust the Providence." Providence means fate. Let us see what the fate has for us. We found 11 and 11 balls they found. We fixed 6 on one side and 5 on the other, and half an hour later the wheel was in its place again. Finally, they found 11 balls, they put 6 on one side and 5 on the other, and finally after half an hour the wheel was back on the place. It need hardly be added that it really did wobble now. A child might have noticed it. The wheel, which was not wobbling at the very first position, now that it was all dismantled, it was all shaken and it was fiddled with, when it was finally put in place again, the wheel was wobbling. It was shaking, it was not stable. Even a child would notice that wobble. Wobble as in, as I told you, it was shaky. Even a small child would understand, would tell you that the wheel is not stable. He said it would do for the present, and that man said it's okay. For now we can go for cycling. This is okay. It is not going to cause any trouble to it. It is okay. I said, "Watching you do this is of real use to me. It is not only your skill that fascinates me, it is your cheery confidence in yourself, your inexplicable hopefulness that does me good." So the boy says, watching you do all this for real is useful for me. Not only that you have good skills of fixing up the bicycle, but actually your cheery confidence, that you are so confident, you are confident enough to repair the bicycle. Your confidence is one thing that attracts me. Your inexplicable hopefulness. Now what is the meaning of this word inexplicable? It means that can't be explained or mysterious. So he says that you are so hopeful, you have kind of a mysterious hopefulness that actually fascinates me, that makes me feel good. Alright. Thus encouraged, he set to work to refix the gear case. So the boy, he got encouraged and motivated and he started working on the gear case again. He stood the bicycle against the house and worked from the offside. Now he took the support of the wall of the house and he started working on the bicycle from the offside. Offside and onside in cricket means offside is that side of the field which the batsman is facing to receive the ball, and onside is the opposite side of that. But here it is offside means the outer side or the opposite side. So he started working from the opposite side, and then he supported the bicycle against the tree and he started working from the on side, which is the inner side. Alright. Then I held it for him while he lay on the ground with his head between the wheels and worked at it from below and dropped oil upon himself. Now the young boy whose cycle it was, he held the bicycle for him while the other boy, he lied down on the ground and his head was between the wheels and he started working from beneath. But while doing all this, he dropped some oil upon himself. Then he took it away from me and doubled himself across it till he lost his balance and slid over onto his head. Now he actually took away the bicycle from the little boy and doubled himself, means moving swiftly across the bicycle, and he lost his balance and slid over onto his head and he fell down and the bicycle was on him. Okay. Now finally he took the cycle from the young boy and he doubled himself, as in he tried to cover it from all the side till he lost the balance and slid over onto his head, and finally he lost the balance and fell down on his on the ground over his head. Then he lost his temper and tried bullying the thing. He lost his temper. He got so mad, so angry that he started bullying the thing. Bullying means to torture, to trouble the thing. What is the thing here? The bicycle. Bicycle, I was glad to see, showed spirit. The bicycle did not break down. The young boy is saying that I was so glad to see that the bicycle was showing spirits. It was, not giving up on the man, not showing tantrums. And the subsequent proceedings degenerated into little else than a rough and tumble fight between him and the machine. And the bullying, whatever torture he was doing to the cycle, it did nothing good. Instead, it reduced the little machine, it reduced the whole situation into a fight, a rough fight between the man and the bicycle. One moment the bicycle would be on the gravel path and he on top of it. The next, the position would be reversed. One moment the cycle would be on the ground and the man on the top of it. The next moment, man would be on the ground and the cycle would be on top of it. It was kind of a fight was going on between bicycle and the man. He on the gravel path, the bicycle on him. Now he would be standing flushed with victory, the bicycle firmly fixed between his legs. Finally, he held the bicycle firmly between his legs and he would be standing flushed with victory. Flushed with victory as in proudly, all filled with the feeling of victory that now I am able to handle the cycle whatever the way I wish to. But his triumph would be short-lived. His victory would be short-lived. It would be for a very, very short span. By a sudden, quick movement, it would free itself and turning upon him, hit him sharply over the head with one of its handle. And the man, when he was fiddling with the cycle, somehow the cycle got out from between his legs and it turned, and the handle of the bicycle, it hit him on the head of the man. See, we can see how the fight is going between the man and the bicycle. And look at the expression of the man's. At 1:45, dirty and dishevelled, cut and bleeding, he said, I think that will do, and rose and wiped his brow. Now finally it was 1:45. He was all dirty and he was all very untidy. Dishevelled means very untidy. He was all dirty, he was very untidy, he was cut because of all the fiddling he has done with the cycle, he was even bleeding. Finally he said, I think that will do. I think now your cycle is, okay, we can ride the bicycle now. And rose and wiped his brow. He got up and wiped his brow. Wiped his brow as in probably he was very sweaty. So he just wiped the sweat. The bicycle looked as if it also had enough of it. It looked like the bicycle was even very, very tired of this man and it just wanted to, go away from the custody of this man, which had received most punishment. It would have been difficult to say. The young boy feels it is so difficult to even understand what kind of punishment the cycle has gone through. I took him into the back kitchen where so far as was possible he cleaned himself. The young fellow, the author, he took him into the back kitchen. He took the man into the back kitchen where as much as he can he cleaned himself. Then I sent him home. The plan for the cycling became zero. They did not go for cycling and instead he sent the man back home. Alright, this story was written by Jerome K. Jerome and I hope that you have understood this story, and probably in future you are not going to allow anybody to fiddle with your bicycle, right? I hope you enjoyed the story, kids. We will go to the exercise now.